Hey guys, welcome to the Plumbers of Data Science podcast. I'm your host, Andreas, and today I'm joined again by Mezue. We were talking before about Spark and about the cloud, and today we're going to continue on this, but we're going to do more focus on how to learn this, how to especially become a data engineer in the sector of Azure, Azure Databricks, and of course Databricks, the combination with Spark. He has a ton of experience in this, works for a large company, and he also does a bootcamp on this topic on Azure Databricks. So if you are interested in that, check out the link to his bootcamp in the comments below. And now let's get into it. All right. Yeah, hey Mitsue. Hi.
Hey, Andres.
How's it going?
Good, good,
Nice
good
to hear.
to see you again.
Yeah, welcome back. We've been talking before about Azure and about Spark, all these kind of topics. And I think it would be cool, or I thought it would be cool to have you on back on and talk a bit about these topics again and be helpful for people who also want to get into this, into working on the cloud, into working with Spark and so on. Right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you're experienced with this. Can you please quickly, basically, remind people? Okay, what's your background?
Sure, sure. Yeah, so my name is Mezue. Some people also call me Obi. And I've been in data engineering space for almost pretty much 10 years. And I've been working, I started my career from healthcare domain. I've been working as a database engineer, then transition when the cloud became popular. Started working with Azure, working in cloud technologies, and then in big data platforms. I was lucky to start my journey with a tool like Databricks. And my background before that was actually in electrical engineering. And so I had the engineering mindset that I needed to really do well in data engineering. So I picked up the skills along the way from Python, SQL, the data pipeline designing, and different other skills that helped me to get me where I am today. So right, currently in the past 5 years, I've pretty much been working strictly with Azure Databricks projects with a little bit of other Azure tools like Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, SQL databases, and all that. So that's a little bit about me. I actually also am on a mission to help more people get into the field, get upskilled in data engineering, and especially working with Azure Databricks.
Hmm. Yeah, you said you are doing a boot camp right now, or you're starting a
Yes.
boot camp in October. I I find it very interesting. Like, how did you get to data engineering? Like, was this a decision? Like, oh, I'm working in electrical engineering right now. Let's get into data engineering, or how
Yeah, yeah,
did you
yeah,
get to that?
yeah. So it's actually a funny story. When I finished my electrical engineering degree, I was at the stage where I wanted to work in electrical engineering. I wanted to do power, electrical power, but at that point, I noticed that the job markets where I was living, I had to relocate. And also, I had some challenges finding the jobs within that specific electrical power field that I wanted because of the economy and different other challenges I had. And one of my friends told me about, at that time, one of my friends told me about this information technology. There's so many opportunities at that moment. And I thought that, okay, let me at least get to know what they are doing. And he you just like by chance that the person that I met told me about the just information technology happened to be specialized in database technology, which he told me, okay, hey, join a boot camp, see how it goes, and see if you like it. And based on my experience doing my bachelor's, I noticed that I actually liked the few programming classes that I did within electrical engineering. And when I was learning like SQL, because that was the very first thing I learned in the program, I was uh, fascinated because it's like it was programming, but it also very simple and straightforward, even more than computer, or software engineering. So I just naturally just fell in love with it. I saw myself understanding it, and later on, when we started doing stuff like optimization, like how to make your database run faster, I was like, hey, this is similar to problem solving in electrical engineering. Like you just have to analyze, figure out how to change things to make it better. So I really fell in love with that uh, concept as well. It has a lot of theories and design principles. So that's how I just kept going and you know landed my job and just started in the field. Yeah.
Interesting. So it all started with the boot camp, basically, to
Exactly.
see if you like.
It literally started with a boot camp. And that's the same approach that I'm doing now with some people that if you are interested and you feel like you've been on the fence, you're working in a career that you feel like you have the skills that you can transition, or you kind of want to go to the next level, yeah, data analyst, you really feel like maybe data engineering, you can do it, you see people doing it, you have the interest. Yes, I think bootcamp is a very good approach. It gets you hit the, you kind of, you jump in head first, right?
Hmm.
And you just learn as much as you can, and it gives you the skills to just keep growing from there.
Okay, interesting. Do you remember how much was that boot camp back in the day? Do you remember that?
Back in the day, it was actually free for me.
Oh,
But the catch is we had a contract with the person um, that trained us that we work for him. He had his own company. We worked for him for a year.
mhm.
So that was kind of the way he got back his investment. Yeah.
No, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for beginners, just joining a boot camp, trying it out, see if this is something. This is an interesting thought. I never thought
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
because very often you hear boot camps are more for advanced people, right?
Mm. Yeah. It's interesting because it's actually, again, it works well, I feel like, with people that have the boot camp. Where I see boot camp is a lot of the things you can learn on your own, on self-paced. Like you can, if you know what topics to learn and courses to go over, you can learn it on your own. But the advantage is just that it's a lot more at a faster pace, and also you have someone that is holding your hands sort of through that journey
Mm.
and making you also accountable, because you have an environment where you have other people similar to you in the same level that you can talk with and be like, hey, is this topic, are you also struggling here? Am I just the only person struggling? And you kind of have that feeling of teamwork, that where you can collaborate and also receive instant feedback with someone experienced in the field on what is actually super important versus what is not. And I think that's the value of the bootcamp that really it gives you. So someone that is starting off, if you really want to accelerate your learning, because when you're doing self-paced, sometimes you are motivated, sometimes you don't, you slack off, so other things come in the way. But with bootcamp, you kind of committed. And with that commitment, you have to just finish it, and you'll be in a lot better place to just move forward. Yeah.
What do you think is a good size for a boot camp, like in terms of how
Yeah.
many people are there? Because as you said, you have someone who can help you, but this person needs
This
to
is
be able
too
to help
much.
you. So if there are, let's say, 200 people in there, might be
Oh
difficult.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. I think typically when I did the size, that time was we are not more than 15 people. It was like 10 to 15. And I actually like that because it's small enough to have that time to really hear people out. If people ask questions, people are comfortable, they can be more intimate with each other and just make friendships and work in teams. But I've seen bootcamps that also up to 60 people. It depends how it's structured, how many instructors you have. So if you have more instructors, you can have them like have office hours where they can be paired with different instructors in smaller groups to help them get that one-on-one or more intimate discussions and help or support. Yeah.
Mm. So this also led you to thinking that, okay, why not do a bootcamp myself, right? Why not create
Yeah.
one? I mean, this is not the first time you run this, but like
Yeah.
back in the day when you started it, that was
Yeah.
something.
Exactly. Yeah. I've always had that. I love one of the motivations with the bootcamp is like I always get people asking me, "Hey, I see you doing this data engineering," because you have to realize too, data engineering is something that is sort of not. Lately, it actually became more popular. People are knowing a lot about it, but before, a lot of people didn't even know that it used to be called ETL developer, BI developer, database developer. So like people have different job titles for the role that is called data engineering today. So people didn't actually know what it was. People didn't actually appreciate that it's very important. But if you go to all these companies, they have people working in this field. And, I think the biggest thing was when people, uh, when someone told me, and with the bootcamp, is someone can help you, guide you, tell you that those details that you probably wouldn't know, just Googling it, if you have that knowledge, that will help you a lot. And did I answer your question? I think I forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
no, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's. I think the whole topic of basically showing people what to do is very important. That's also what I do in my coaching, right? Because
yeah,
like if you, I'm always thinking from my side when I try to learn something new, if you don't know what you need
yeah,
to learn, if you don't know what you do not know, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you cannot figure out what to learn because you don't know what to learn. So
yeah.
it's very difficult, and then you go around and then you search on the internet, and of course people are going to tell you 100 things that you need to
Oh,
know, and
yeah,
then you get
yeah.
frustrated and like, oh, forget about it.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Like I have so many people that, yeah, they get frustrated, like because the information out there is so vast, and it's not like they are wrong. It's just that every company has their own flavor to it. And when I'm teaching my data engineering, I'm teaching you from what my experience has been, what I know that companies that I've worked for they really look for. But is it the most comprehensive? No. But I'd also think that you really need to know everything to get a job. You just have to know the most important things, the fundamentals, and you can be fine in many other uh, job, you know,
Mm.
job places. So that's what I really think. The bootcamp is get towards that, honing on the fundamentals, and then helping you um, do some hands-on projects and getting that feedback, getting that mentorship as you apply for jobs, as you work on your resume and all these things that are also very important because you I always appreciated my mentors when I got into the field. I felt like giving up. I was like, oh, I'm not making progress. I'm not like, but if you have these mentors that keep telling you, yes, here, be patient, focus, keep learning, focus on this area, improve here. This always helps. It always helps a lot. And that's one thing I try to do. I create that bond with my students. It's like we are just a friend. You can always reach out to me even after the boot camp, and I'll be supporting you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's sometimes also people contact me or criticize me for some courses in the academy. Like this needs to go deeper. We want to have all the details. The thing is, like only a short amount or only a small amount of people want to go that far, and do you
Yeah,
really need it? Because if I get people to a point where they are able to understand what is it, how does it work, how can I do, let's say, the basic things,
yeah,
and what are the topics that will come up if I want to go deeper, then they can
yeah,
improve by
yeah,
themselves afterwards, especially if they use it within the company, right? They have the basics, they understand.
yeah,
If there is, or most likely there is going to be some code already around, they are able to
yeah,
understand that code, and then if something is missing in their knowledge, they know, okay, I can Google it, and okay, this is how this
yeah.
works together, right?
That is true. You have a good point. Like, so the book is not exactly that you do it and then all of a sudden, yeah, 100%, you have 10 years experience or you have 5 years experience, you can now work and they will know. Yeah, the boot camp really is pretty much to get you started, like to get you, you know, equipped with the some basic skills that you can now feel confident in learning on your own and building that experience to be useful in a job or actually apply for jobs. So I think that's what some people they get that the expectation wrong with the boot camp. They're feeling like, okay, if I have the boot camp now, I should be able to, let's say, ace some certifications, get a job within 1 month or 1 week. I mean, it's not really realistic. You have to understand a lot of the information is being piled into you in a short amount of time, and some of them might not be, like you said, detailed. So you need to take that time after the boot camp to review everything you've learned and then go deeper in areas that you think is necessary and also is necessary based on what the industry is asking. And I try to tell students, hey, guys, do focus on this area. We might not um, spend the whole time in it, but definitely make sure you practice and learn that area on your own even deeper. So like that's very important that people know this, set that expectation right, and that way they don't they don't send you an email complaining that they are not satisfied. Yeah.
Hmm. How do you see it right now? Because very often when I look, also when people talk with me about data engineering and they're looking for jobs, they say a lot of jobs out there are currently like professional data engineers. There are almost no junior roles. Everybody wants 5 to 10 years of experience. What do you
Yeah.
think about this?
So that is true actually. Like a lot of the jobs, they are really looking for senior. Like it's unfortunate because the people tell there's no job, there's no job. But I get reached out a lot on LinkedIn. I'm like, why getting all these emails? They hire jobs. But the truth of the matter is that when you are applying, are there companies that still hire junior roles? Yes. Are they less? Yes. Compared to senior roles? Yes. But I think one of the things that helped me when I started, because when I started in my career, there were already a lot of senior database developers and different people in the field that had a lot of experience. One thing that helped me was really taking that time to master some of the fundamentals and a little bit going as far as getting some knowledge of the architecture, which is something when you learn architecture, why you use this versus that, that's something that would differentiate you from a lot of the junior engineers. And you can, even though you apply as a junior or you apply as a data engineer, you can actually differentiate yourself because a lot of companies, when they interview you, they don't actually care if you are junior or senior. They will ask whatever they ask, like what questions they feel like you need for the job. And if you don't know all those topics that might be advanced or might be fundamental, you will not get the job. So I always tell people that, hey, just everything is learning. Like the difference between I have 10 years experience doesn't mean it took me 10 years to learn everything I know now. Like I could condense everything and give it to you, let's say within, 1 year, if you learn everything, right? Within 6 months, 1 year, you can learn, but you just to know what you need to learn. And that's why I really encourage people to dig deep, differentiate themselves with the projects they do, because it's really all about learning. There's no special, like experience is very important, but you can learn, you can simulate real world experience. You can practice and get tips from people, from videos on the different things you need to learn that can differentiate you. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say there are there some specific things that people need for Spark, for Azure, what they with what
Yeah.
they should start or
Yeah.
what
This, yes, for Spark and Azure, like I think you really need the understanding of before you even work in Spark, like you need to make sure you have your Python, SQL, you're already comfortable in those. And then when you think about Spark, one thing that I advise people is just watching a YouTube video on distributed systems. Like I think that helps you kind of understand what is the concept behind the move to an architecture like Spark and like the likes of Snowflake and Azure Synapse. They're all like different distributed systems, but they have their own architecture and their pros and cons. I feel like when you learn how that fundamental, because when I started, we had to learn Hadoop, which is not popular nowadays,
True.
but it does have a benefit of giving you that foundation before you go into the different frameworks, which is like Spark and the rest of them. So I would say just learn, focus a lot on the architecture because that really, like I said, that's something that you can really differentiate yourself from someone that doesn't know much, from someone that actually feels very comfortable and demonstrates that they can be very good and useful if they're getting hired. So focus on the Spark architecture, then you can learn the Databricks and the rest of them. Yeah.
Do you have like,
You see,
do you have some specific tips on data sets that people could use? Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, some of the data sets that I've used is something I need to. I know the taxi data set, the New York taxi one, is very popular. It's being used for data science or even for data engineering. It's a huge data set. One thing I would do in the bootcamp is to find data sets that have that nested, because a lot of times nowadays we're working with semi-structured data or structured data, and having that comfort in working with a data set that has complex types like nested structures. It's not just the typical columns and rows, like it has some nested JSON in some fields that needs to be passed out. I think that's a data set that I'll focus on learning, because that's, these days we are dealing with APIs, pulling data from APIs, and they are all in JSON format. So it's good to have that comfort and confidence in working in those kind of data sets. Yeah.
yeah, true. This, like, almost everything is an API. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. It's good. It makes it clear how to get the data, how to interact with the database or with your counterpart. So I think it's quite good.
Yeah. So, okay, I was gonna ask, like, what have you seen that students like that take your coaching or bootcamp or the courses, what have you seen as being their biggest, pain point, like in learning? Like, one of the challenges that you always notice students complain about, or they feel like it could be done better here. Yeah.
So one thing what I have learned is the content and the quality is not always the most important thing. The problem that people very often have is actually motivation to stay with it,
Mm,
to actually do the courses, to follow the coaching, to join every week, to actually do projects. That is one of the most difficult things for people. Of course,
mm,
in a setup with a bootcamp and a coaching, you have more influence to this as with a course, right? Because
yeah.
like you literally you cannot have any influence on the course. But I like these are things that I see all the time. People struggle with this, or people look only for the simple stuff. They You have beginner courses and you have uh, let's say difficult courses,
Yeah.
and that for me is when I see, for instance, on AWS, I have data engineering on AWS, which is a basic course, and then I have two other ones that are above that.
Mm,
And I can see from the statistics, people either begin this and then they drop out, or they just don't do it. And so
yeah.
I think that is one of the biggest challenges, to have people, or like the people stay motivated and they be accountable for their actual learning experience,
Mm,
because you can clearly see this whenever, if it's the coaching, if it's in the academy, whenever you have people that are successful, it's
mm,
because they go through it, they continue with it, they apply their knowledge, they do the courses, they document everything. Like these are the things. So I wouldn't say it's any specific problem that they have with the courses. The most difficult thing is motivation. That is absolutely.
yeah. 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 I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. Motivation. I had one of my students. He called. Like, I check up on him because I told him, hey, you can always reach out to me if you're struggling, even after the boot camp. And I just knew he probably would be struggling, so I checked up on him. I called him. He was like, hey, he's doing well, but life got in the way. He has family and other things. But I asked him, I say, okay, but you still, in a day, would you spend more than 30 minutes on social media in a day? He's like, yes, even with the whole family issue and all that, right? Which, I mean, I spend also 30 minutes on social media, more than that even.
Too much. We all spend too much,
Yeah, yes,
too much time on that.
yeah. So I told you, I was like, hey, you just have to. One of the things with motivation is to is actually, yeah, if you can start small, like start something you can commit, carve out a time that works for you. But if you can just set that goal 30 minutes a day, you can do wonders, like as
That's true.
time goes. Yeah. So, and he took that advice. So far he's getting a lot better. And I'm also I take that advice for myself as well. Like just carving out the little time that you feel like is absolutely very easy to achieve, and committing to that, you will do wonders, just with that consistency. Yeah, because it's really hard motivating yourself to learn, especially those advanced topics.
Mm.
Very hard, like, because it takes a lot out of you, and when you don't have someone that is telling you, is explaining it, making it simple, it's quite hard to um, be motivated. Yeah. So
Yeah. I think also, like, if you have prepared hands-on things that they
mm,
can go through, that is very helpful.
mm, that's
Right.
true.
So because that is very often also something where when I'm learning something, I get annoyed, or I get, I don't know the English word, like where I think, okay, now I can never make it, because
Yeah.
it feels too complicated and you don't know how to do it. But if it's
Yeah.
something that is prepared, where you say, okay, um, these are the steps, I'm going to just, for the first time, I just follow it. And then
Mm,
afterwards, I'm going to try to change it, make this my own,
my own.
and,
Yeah.
and use it different days. I think that is super important.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I believe so. Yeah. I think so that's something I'm learning. Every bootcamp for me is a learning experience, because sometimes I go, initially one of my projects in my last book, I taught them the fundamentals, then I gave them a reward project, and they just couldn't wait to start. I was like, well, you guys know everything. I've taught everything you need. But what I realize is they really need um, that hand holding, making it, baby steps, like do this little project, do this. Even though, like you say, some of the things that contributed is them not doing all the homeworks and different things as well kind of contributed. But I feel like I have an opportunity to do better job breaking the projects in very mini projects that are kind of building blocks that by the time the person looks at it, they're like, oh wow, I've done this amazing work at the end. So it does help making it easier. Yeah, hands
True.
on.
Do you think, like, let's say, because we were talking about engineers, people are searching for professionals or for senior people, do you think this helps a lot if people work through projects to basically make that gap smaller
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
beginning?
I think so. That's why I believe like projects are the way to go, because I really don't believe in the whole 10 years experience, 5 years experience. To be honest, I when I'm hiring someone, I don't even care like how many years you have. To be honest, like the recruiter might care, and I don't fault them, because that's what the industry demands. But I know how it is. I know that someone that learned something today, you can be as good as, if if you just know that thing, you can be as good as someone that's been doing it for 10 years. Like it's all knowledge, and I feel that If you understand it, you know it, and you can always become better with the right mindset. And I think that doing the projects would definitely differentiate you because you can explain. That's something that I love when I interview and the person has a chance to show me, hey, look at what I've done. Look at a project I do, even though it's a little bit hard to show the project you've done if you don't have too much experience, but you can find the ones that you did through a bootcamp or through this online and save it in a GitHub, show that to the interviewers, and explain it and tell them, hey, I did this, I did this. That would really help to differentiate you because it gives them that confidence that, okay, if he's able to explain this, he can actually job. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also relate questions to that you say,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've done, I've done either I have already done this, or if it's with a tool that you don't know but you know in the category
Yeah.
that it's in, you say, but I haven't done it with this, but I have done it with, like, let's say I haven't done it with Snowflake, but I know how to do it with BigQuery because
yeah.
I've done this project where I've done blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, and
Yeah.
this
That's true. No,
gets
that's true. Yeah. And I mean, the difficulty sometimes comes with the how do you find the project, because one of the things that we see with data engineering is this: there's just so many tools in the real world. Like, it's so beneficial to have the real world experience because in the real world, the companies can purchase some of these expensive tools that is very hard to gain experience with them if you are not working in that company, right? And how do you really practice those scenarios if you have access to those tools? So that's one of the challenge that we have with students learn, get the real world experience or real world projects outside the real the real world. So um, I will always say that the best is to mimic some of those tools. Try to, like, Python has a lot of packages, libraries that you can mimic certain functionalities to generate more data, real-time data, different things. It takes a lot of setup, but I think with patience and time, you can build a lot of stuff that can be close to the real world. That way you can use that to demonstrate your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think these are very good tips, and I hope people take them and they use these tips.
Yeah.
They should check out your bootcamp. I'm going to put this in the description of this podcast on YouTube.
Sure.
And if you're listening to this on the audio, go to YouTube and check it out. Yeah, let's finish here with this. I think this is very helpful for people, and I wish you all the best with your bootcamp. We're going to hopefully stay in touch.
Sure. Just to remind everyone, the bootcamp starts September 24th.
Exactly.
This year.
Good.
Yeah, like Andrea said, it will be in the details will be in the description. And you can always reach out to me to get more information.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're also going to put your LinkedIn in there.
In the LinkedIn, yes. Right? Thank you.
So September 24th, everybody check out Mezue's Bootcamp. And thanks for being here, Mezue. Thanks for all these cool tips for people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. See you later.